I stared at my phone, my hands trembling as I read the message again. I'm leaving you. I met someone, her name is Natasha, and she's everything you're not. We're moving to the Maldives. Good luck with your grumpy mother. The words felt like a punch to the stomach. Each sentence was colder than the last, like a knife cutting deeper with every word. I sat motionless in my mother's hospital room, the soft beeping of the monitors the only sound in the quiet space. The fluorescent lights above cast a harsh glow over the small room, making everything feel even more distant and unreal. My mother lay still, her frail body finally resting after a difficult day. She had been sick for years, and I had been by her side every step of the way. And now, at this very moment, my husband had chosen to abandon me. Not even a phone call, just a text. A heartless, dismissive text. It was as if the last 3 years of our marriage had meant absolutely nothing to him. My name is Jennifer, I'm 33 years old, and until today, I thought my life was under control. It wasn't perfect, but I managed. My father passed away when I was in my 20s, leaving me and my mother alone. When she got sick, I became her caregiver, and while it wasn't always easy, I never once regretted it. She was my mother, I loved her. Michael, on the other hand, never saw it that way. It's not like she's your responsibility, he would say, annoyed, whenever I canceled plans or skipped dinner to be with her. You need to focus on us, not her. He made it clear he wasn't happy with my choices. I guess I just didn't want to see how deep his resentment really ran. And now, it all made sense. He had found someone else, someone who didn't come with responsibilities, someone who wasn't tied down by family or obligations, someone who, in his words, was everything I'm not. I swallowed the lump in my throat and put my phone away. My focus needed to be on my mother, not on a man who never truly cared. But as I left the hospital that night and stepped into the cold, empty silence of our home, the weight of Michael's betrayal truly hit me. I dropped my bag onto the couch and looked around. This was the house we had built together, the place we had made into a home, but now, it felt empty, like a stranger's house. Something on my dresser caught my eye. A necklace. My father's necklace. Or at least, I thought it was. I walked over and picked it up, holding it carefully in my hands. It looked the same design, same sparkle, but something felt off. It was lighter than I remembered, too light. I turned it over in my fingers, tracing along the edges until I noticed something. Tiny scratches along the clasp. My stomach twisted with unease. Could I be imagining it? Was I just tired? I pushed the thought away and tried to focus on something else, but an hour later, as I was unpacking, my phone buzzed. Security alert, item has been moved from its designated location. I froze. The tracking chip. My dad had insisted on putting one in the necklace when he gave it to me, as a precaution, and now, it was telling me that the real necklace, the one my father had given me, was gone. Michael hadn't just left me. He had stolen it. A wave of anger surged through me as I clenched the fake necklace in my hands. He had planned this, swapped it out with a cheap copy, thinking I wouldn't notice, and then he had run off with Natasha, taking with him one of the last pieces of my father that I had left. I opened the tracking app, my heart pounding as I waited for the map to load. There it was. A small, blinking dot. The necklace had been taken to a pawn shop, just 3 miles away. My breath came in short, angry bursts. Michael had always been selfish, but this was unforgivable. He hadn't just broken my heart, he had stolen something irreplaceable, something priceless. And he thought he could get away with it. I grabbed my phone and dialed the number of the pawn shop, forcing my voice to stay steady. Hi, I'm calling about a diamond necklace that may have been brought into your shop recently. It has a security chip, and I just received an alert about its location. The man on the other end hesitated. Yeah, we had a piece like that come in this morning. A guy sold it, tall, dark hair, seemed a little jittery. Michael, do you still have it? I asked, my grip tightening around my phone. Not anymore, the man admitted. We noticed the security chip and reported it to the authorities. It flagged as stolen, so it's out of our hands now. You might want to contact law enforcement. I hung up, my fingers trembling with rage. Michael thought he could steal from me, abandon me, and run off to the Maldives with his mistress, living happily ever after. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I wasn't going to let him get away with this. justice and a fresh start. The call I had been waiting for finally came. I had spent weeks holding my breath, waiting for news, hoping that the person who had turned my life upside down would finally face the consequences. And now, it was happening. "Jennifer, we've got him," Detective Chambers said, his voice carrying a calm satisfaction. "Michael was taken into custody this morning in the Maldives. Local authorities intercepted him at his resort." A wave of relief hit me so hard that I had to sit down. My legs felt weak, my heart racing. "What happens now?" I asked, gripping the phone tighter. "The Maldivian authorities are holding him while they process the extradition," Chambers explained. "He's also being charged locally for attempting to transport a flagged item across international borders. That's a serious offense." I exhaled, letting his words sink in. "And Natasha?" I asked, the woman Michael had left me for, the woman he thought would be his escape. "She was detained, but—" The detective hesitated. "But what?" "It looks like she's not sticking around. From what we've gathered, she wasn't thrilled to learn that Michael's so-called luxurious lifestyle was built on fraud and theft. Apparently, she packed up and left the resort shortly after his arrest." A short, sharp laugh escaped my lips. So much for love and loyalty. Natasha, the woman who had been part of my betrayal, had abandoned Michael the moment things got difficult. It was poetic justice in its purest form. Later that evening, I saw the fallout for myself. Social media was buzzing with photos and updates. One particular picture caught my eye: Michael, being escorted out of the resort by two uniformed officers, his hands cuffed behind his back. His once smug face was now a mask of defeat. The caption beneath the image read, "Drama at the resort. Some guy got arrested for theft. Guess paradise isn't for everyone." I spent the next hour scrolling through the chaos. Natasha had erased every trace of Michael from her online life, every picture, every caption, every declaration of love. She had completely wiped him away as if their whirlwind romance had never existed. Just like that, he was alone. A text notification lit up my phone. It was from Detective Chambers. "The extradition process has begun. He'll be brought back to face charges here. With the evidence we've gathered, it's a strong case. He won't be walking away from this." For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt something close to peace. Michael, who thought he could steal my father's necklace, my money, and my dignity, was now sitting in a Maldivian jail cell with nowhere to run. And Natasha? She had vanished as if their affair had never happened. As I sat in my quiet living room, holding the fake necklace he had left behind, I realized something. Michael's betrayal had hurt me, but it hadn't destroyed me. I was still here, and I had won. Reclaiming my life. The next morning, sunlight streamed through my bedroom window. For once, I didn't wake up with a heavy weight pressing on my chest. Michael was gone. And for the first time, the thought didn't make me sad. It felt freeing. The first thing I did was visit my mother. She was resting in her hospital bed, her body frail but her eyes sharp as ever. I sat beside her and took her hand gently. "He's finally getting what he deserves," I whispered. She gave my hand a weak but reassuring squeeze. "You're stronger than you think, Jennifer," she said softly. "I've always known that." Her words stayed with me long after I left. I had survived the heartbreak. I had fought back. And now, it was time to move forward. I started with my house. I went through every room, gathering everything that reminded me of Michael, his clothes, his books, even the cologne he used to wear, every cheap souvenir he had ever insisted on keeping. Into the trash they went. With each item I tossed, I felt lighter. This was my space now, my life. Then, I turned to my career. Michael had drained some of our finances, but I wasn't starting from zero. I still had my savings and, thanks to the recovered funds, I had a foundation to rebuild. I reached out to my former boss, Ellen, a woman who had always believed in me. When I explained my situation, she didn't hesitate. "Come back whenever you're ready," she said warmly. "We've missed you." Within weeks, I was back at work, throwing myself into projects that reignited my passion. But this time, things were different. No more late nights trying to please Michael. No more sacrificing my dreams for someone who never truly valued me. My time was mine. And I wasn't giving it away again. I also reached out to friends I had lost touch with during my marriage. Over coffee and long conversations, I realized how much I had missed them. They reminded me of who I was before Michael, someone strong, independent, and full of life. Every night, I wrote in my journal, pouring out my thoughts. Not every entry was positive. There were still moments of sadness, flashes of anger. But there was also healing. And for the first time in a long time, there was hope. One evening, as I was flipping through old photos, I came across one of my dad. He was grinning at the camera, his arm around me, the necklace, the real one, glistening in the sunlight. I traced my fingers over the picture. I did it, Dad, I whispered. I didn't let him win. A call I didn't expect. The next day, as I was settling into my new routine, my phone buzzed with a message. It was from an unfamiliar number. Jennifer, this is Natasha. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need to tell you something. Please call me. I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Natasha? The woman who had helped shatter my life was reaching out. The nerve. At first, I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. I took a deep breath and dialed the number. She picked up immediately. Jennifer, thank you for calling, she said, her voice shaking. I'm so sorry for everything. I didn't know. I didn't know the full extent of what Michael had done. I didn't respond right away. I let the silence stretch, making her uncomfortable. What do you want, Natasha? She sighed heavily. When I met Michael, he told me you were the one who wanted the divorce. She admitted that you were cold, that you prioritized your mom over him and didn't care about your marriage. I clenched my jaw. And you believed him? I did, she admitted, at first, but over time, I started noticing the lies. He lied about everything, his finances, why he left you, even how he got the necklace. When I found out it was stolen, I couldn't look at him the same way. She hesitated. I left him the day he was arrested. I flew back home, and I've been trying to make sense of it all. I felt like you deserved to know. I let out a bitter laugh. And what do you expect from me? Forgiveness? No, she said quickly. I don't deserve that. I just wanted to apologize, and to tell you that Michael didn't just hurt you, he hurt me too, in ways I didn't realize until it was too late. He's a master manipulator. I sat in silence, considering her words. I didn't trust her. But I could hear the regret in her voice. Michael had used her, just like he had used me. I appreciate the apology, I said finally, but I've moved on from Michael, and I suggest you do the same. She let out a shaky breath. I will, thank you for listening. As the call ended, I felt no anger, no pain. Michael's betrayal had once consumed me. But now? It was nothing more than a closed chapter in my past. And my future? It was mine again.